In Gambia, it's a sad story because we in the EFF were the first ones to congratulate the president, the former president, that having served long and having taken the country through a barrel of a gun, we were so happy that he had accepted the results. And we thought this was beginning to usher in a new era in Africa. And following his acceptance of the results, then we saw the president of Angola saying he's not going to make himself available in the next term and all that. So we thought we're now entering an interesting period in Africa. But because, being a political prophet as we are, then warned the incoming president of Gambia that please don't concentrate on what happened in the past. Because if you do that, then you are going to put this country into a crisis. We said that in our statement. And the man immediately then threatened the outgoing president with an arrest. That led to the outgoing president now changing his mind, that no, I will not leave. It is a country that comes from the difficult past. And how you manage that transition was going to be an extremely important. Here is a man who came through a barrel of a gun, a soldier who says, I'm ready to leave. And you should have, welcomed that. And then introduce some form of reconciliation and peaceful method towards healing whatever the difficulties the country confronted during his era. So we found it irresponsible of the current president to then make such threats instead of putting the country on a peaceful transition which seeked to unite everybody. But we're happy that the outgone president came back to his senses and then ultimately, relinquished power and then accepted and left. And we want to applaud ECOWAS for taking a firm stand, something that we so wish to see in SADC in future and in all regions, that the peers must now begin to say, hey man, it's not about us at this level, it's about the people and the will of the people. So we really congratulate ECOWAS stand, and we saw the AU, the toothless, useless AU, in a very opportunistic way, trying to follow in the footsteps of ECOWAS. The AU should have been the first body to declare that stand that was declared by ECOWAS. But because AU is led by people who have got no idea about where they want to take the country to, then they were found wanting. And then when they saw that ECOWAS is being celebrated in an opportunistic way, but also in a campaigning way for South African dynamics, we then saw other people beginning to say other things as a way of trying to, profile themselves. We don't buy into AU stand. So the AU summit which is coming should actually focus on how do we deepen democratic practices in the continent, and how do we avoid long-term presidency and leading to the grave and thinking that the only person who can continue with my legacy is myself and nobody else. You can't even trust your own children. You can't even trust your own wives with your legacy. Only you can carry that legacy. You'll rather hand it over to your children and then we discuss whether it was right or wrong. But just for you to stay there forever and ever like we see in Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe's situation is bad. President Mugabe can't even control a spade. They were trying to a sword turning. And he can't control that thing. That's how old he is. He's no longer capable of discharging his responsibilities. We don't hate the man. They can respond and insult us anyhow they want. But they are a group of cowards, those comrades in Zanu PF. To be scared to say to an old man like President Mugabe, please, with due respect, let go. Commandant Fidel, when he realized it was no longer doable, he let go. So President Mugabe must let go. The legacy of the land question will carry it. We are following in his footsteps. We are proud of the actions he has taken, but his overstay is not doing justice on the African Revolution project. He's destroying his own legacy. It's bad. President Mugabe's stay in power and him being a presidential candidate in 2018. Those comrades in Zanu PF, they can insult us anyhow they want, but we are not going to be good friends if we are not going to tell them that that which they are doing is not good for Zimbabwean people, is not good for SADC, is not good for the struggle for reclaiming the land in Africa. Because those who are leading that struggle, then they overstay and destroy that legitimate program. We say this out of love, not because we hate him. We celebrate Mugabe, we celebrate what he has done, and will continue his legacy. But Grandpa, it's enough now. You must let go and allow other people to continue with that legacy. There are a lot of capable young comrades in Zanu PF, very radical, very clear of where the continent must go. We're not even talking about MDC. MDC is not an alternative in Zim. It's an imperialist puppet that seeks to undermine the legitimate land question in Zimbabwe. We are not aligned to anything that seeks to reverse the land question in Zimbabwe. And we genuinely believe that the Zanu PF comrades, many of them who are still young, can continue that legacy and that good battle. So we are with them in that struggle. They must be brave enough to say to the old man, please resign. President Mugabe must celebrate that he's not a South African president, because we were not going to allow that. We were not going to allow that. It doesn't matter the price it comes with. We cannot have all Zimbabweans being cowards, all Zanu PF members and leaders being cowards. President Mugabe has reached a stage where he can literally do anything to you. He can't do anything. He can't even clap you. He's got no such capacity. He's finished. So why do you want to continue with such leadership? You are making mockery of a genuine African revolution by allowing President Mugabe to overstay as a Zimbabwean president and the president of Zanu PF.